Welcome to our look at the Day 2 results for Mathewson's auction from July 2025. As before, we're going to take you through just over about 20 cars, have a closer look at them, and then see whether or not they sold when they went to auction. So let's crack on and see what we found. So first up, we've got this beautiful 1974 Jaguar E-Type 2+2 Auto. Being the 74, this must have been one of the last of the E-Types. I think the XJS came out 75. This was lot 302. It'd been owned by the current owner since 1982, had been restored in the 1990s, did present really well. It looked good, it sounded good. They said some of the paint could do a little bit of a TLC, but otherwise looked pretty good. Showed 71,000 miles on the speedo. Estimated 35 to 40,000, which is a typical estimate for these kind of cars, but only got to 28,000 and remained unsold. And lot 310 was another last of the line car, Morris Ital 1.7 SLX. Of course, this was previously known as Murena until it had a very minor facelift. Always makes me chuckle that, you know, when the Murena was introduced, it's compared to the Cortina was on the Mark III design. By the time the Ital finished production, they were already knocking out the Ford Sierra. So one manufacturer moves a lot quicker than the other. This one, to be fair to it, didn't look untidy. It was showing 78,000 miles. It looked, to be honest, a straight old thing, sort of thing you take to the Festival of the Unexceptional. It had been stood 7 years. It didn't run, so it did need a bit of TLC, but I thought sold reasonably strongly for £1,700. Now, lot 314 was one of the second generation, shall we say, of Lotus Elan. This was from 1990. These obviously had that 1.6 turbo Isuzu engine, and I think these are a real bargain at the moment. This one was showing 116,000 miles. It had a recent engine rebuild, but had MOT through to May 2026. The paint on it wasn't that great. Looking at the walk around video, did need a bit of TLC. It got some quite nice wheels on it. I think they may have been aftermarket. Don't know, but I thought this was a bit of a bargain. Guided 2,500 to 3,500. It actually sold for 3,200 and actually was heading back to where it was born, back in Norfolk. Now, if you watched our video on day one, and if you didn't, it's probably because you're not a subscriber, so do us a favour and give that button a little tickle for us. You would have seen there was a Mark I Escort that was registered incorrectly. It was registered as 1100 but had a 2-litre Z-Tech engine in it, etc. And that really struggled to sell. I think it was in the 20s for the estimate and only got to about 13. Now, this one shows the way to do it. Lot 322, 1976 Escort L Auto, but this one clearly isn't an L or an Auto anymore. It very much looks another rally replica, Rothman's livery, Z-Tech engine. It's got the BDA cam cover on it, makes it look really good. Proper thing, this. But it's also got all the DVL paperwork for the engine swap. So this is, you know, proper. Guided at 22.5 to 27.5. It sold for top end of the estimate, £27,500. So do it right and it will sell. Lot 325 is another one of these low mileage cars that seems to pop out of nowhere. 1988 Austin Metro 1.3 City X. And this had done just 3,490 miles. It had been bought from Mathewson's a couple of months ago, and for some reason the seller has put it back in again. It's got MOT through to November. In the walk around video, it looked very good, as you would expect with that mileage. Sounded sweet. Guided £5,000 to £7,000. Bidding got its way up to £4,500, but that was not enough for the seller, and it remains unsold. Lot 340 is very much in the category of when did you last see one of those? 1993 Volkswagen Passat CL. And I can't remember when I was last in a Passat of this shape. This one is a one-owner car. It's done under 25,000 miles, got service history. You know, it's recently been kept in the car collection, and it's freshly MOT. Got MOT through to July 2026. And this one had an estimate of £3,000 to £4,000, which I thought was, you know, probably about right, and it sold for £3,200. Now, I always thought these were a really nice looking car. Lot 356, 1992 BMW 850, so it's got that 5-litre V8 engine in it. This one ready to go, MOT until May 26, does show 127,000 miles. I don't remember seeing many of them in that colour. I always think of these in dark blue, but hey, what do I remember? They were out of my budget back in those days. It's got a service history book with it, all the stamps. It generally looked all round really tidy in the video, leather interior, etc. that you would expect. Estimated 10 to 12,000 pound, and under the hammer it got to a revisional 9,800, and that was accepted by the vendor. Now lot 362, sorry, I'm going to use the cliche, 1969 Triumph GT6, and a lot of people refer these as the poor man's E-Type. Sorry, I've said it, but this one, really nice car, really nice car. It's a low, early one, you can tell that by that low front bumper. It's had a full restoration right back to a bare chassis. Everything's been done to it. It's had servo brakes added, which I think is always a great addition, like some of the electric power steering conversions. It's got lovely chrome wire wheels on it. It runs on unleaded. Brilliant car. Estimate wise, it was 12 to 14,000. Bidding, it only got to 9,750 the hammer. They took that as a provisional bid, but the vendor did not accept it, so that one does remain unsold. Now this lovely red Ford Fiesta XR2i was from 1991. It had literally a complete nut and bolt resto, but since that resto it's only done 2 miles. It is freshly MOT'd through to May 2026, so effectively ready to go. Estimated 17 to 20,000. I think the market on these Ford hot hatches, it's softening. This one got to 15,000, which they took as a provisional bid, but it was not accepted by the vendor, so this car remains unsold. Now lot 388, this 1970 Triumph TR6 had lovely ownership history. It had been owned by the same owner since 1975, so 50 years ago. They're only the second owner. It was taken off the road at 67,000 miles for a full restoration, top to bottom, and now it's only showing 71,000 miles. And it looked a really nice car in the video. It was estimated at 14 to 16,000. I had sort of 15 in my head, and yeah, it sold through for 14,500. Now lot 408, another one in the when did you last see one of those class. This 1994 Ford Probe. Of course, this was the car that was sort of the follow-on to the Ford Capri. This one, really nice example. I think it showed up really well in that sort of burgundy reddish sort of colour. It was showing just 66,000 miles. It was MOT'd up until April 2026. Apparently it's a previous club prize winner. Full service history. It's been wax oiled, so this one was probably a good one to buy. It was estimated at £4,000 to £5,000. Bidding under the hammer, it only got to 3,400, which they took as a provisional bid, but unfortunately the vendor wouldn't accept that, so it remains unsold. Now the reason I picked up on lot 418 was the estimate, because that caught my eye. For a 1982 Volvo 244DL, estimate 12 to 14,000. I was sort of like, it's got to be something special about this one. It's only done 19,000 miles. It says it does need a light recommissioning, but seems to run okay. It was, when I watched it in the video, a really straight car. I walked around it, yes, it looked like a 19,000 mile car. The downside for me, it had no V5 with it. Just please guys, sort the paperwork out before you put these cars into auction. And there was no history with it, no paperwork of service histories or anything like that, which I think deflated it a bit. But against that 12 to 14,000 estimate, it only got to £11,000 and remained unsold. Now, how many of you watching passed your test in one of these? 1992 Nissan Micra. This was lot 422. Really tidy little car. It was just unmolested, original, not been messed with. It got 3 former keepers and done just 55,000 miles. It was MOT'd up till September this year. Estimate wise, £2,500 to £4,000. I thought, I don't think there's massive love for these, but hey, and I was sort of proved right. It got to 1,900 as a provisional bid, and I thought, yeah, that'll probably go through, but the vendor did not accept it, so that one again remains unsold. Now, something a little bit different here. Lot 446, 1968 Austin Mini Moke. Now, I know Mokes have been produced around the world, Australia, Portugal, all over the place, but I know the ones that are sought after, these original British ones. This apparently was used as effectively a daily driver until about 2013. It's only had one owner, so that's going to increase the value. It's been in dry storage since then. No V5 with it. Again, I know there can be obstacles, but if you can sort the paperwork out, I'm sure it improves the interest on these vehicles. It's currently not running. Estimate-wise, it did. Estimate-wise, it was up for £7,500 to £8,500, which I had sort of 10 in my head, but it blew through that as well. It went for £12,000, and what I did notice was apparently this one is being followed through by the Bangers and Cash team, so they are hoping to film it with the new owners. Now I'm going to create myself a new category of cars I even forgot existed, and this one is in that category. 1993 VW Vento VR6. Now, of course, Golfs with a boot, I tend to think Jetta or Bora, but of course this one, you know, was in the middle of that. This one seems quite a nice one. Service history, it was MOT'd until May 2026. Apparently been driven up to Yorkshire from Brighton, so it's had a fair run to get there. Done 101,000 miles, which is not sort of outrageous for a 32-year-old car. It had been lowered, which I think maybe if you were looking at keeping it long term, you might want to put that back to standard. Estimate £4,000 to £5,000, which I thought was very sensible, and yet it sold for £4,100. If you're not a regular viewer, you won't be aware that we have Kit Car Corner in these videos, and this one comes with a bit of a health warning. Lot 464, 1975 Daimler Sovereign 4.2 long wheelbase auto. Yeah, it ain't, is it? This apparently is a Steedman TS100 Jaguar replica, built back in 1988, but is still registered as a 1975 Daimler Sovereign. I've covered the problems you're going to potentially have with these kind of cars. Yes, you could stick it in a private collection and look at it, you wouldn't have a problem. But if you come into contact with the authorities in some way, shape or form, you could have an issue. The daft thing is, because this was built back in the 80s, it could have been easily re-registered as the correct car. The registration process got a lot more complicated in the late 90s, and now this one, you're very unlikely to get it properly registered. This one was estimated at £15,000 to £16,000, which for a not quite correctly registered car I thought was ambitious, but I was sort of wrong. There was a £14,000 bid for it, which was accepted provisionally by the auctioneers, and it was actually sold for that amount. Now, lot 498 took me back to my youth, back in the mid-80s when I was cycling in my Rayleigh Wayfarer to school. I would pass one of these Alfa Romeo Giulettas, is that the correct way of saying it? And I always thought it looked something else compared to all the British Leyland stuff surrounding it. This one looked a very straight car. It had been off the road since 2022, so it had no MOT. It did run apparently, but it did need a battery. It was running off a battery pack. It just looked clean and tidy all round in their video. Estimate wise, it was up for £6,000 to £8,000. These are quite a rare car. I'm not quite sure of the Alfa Romeo's enthusiasm for these. At bidding, it got to £5,000, and they took that as a provisional bid, but I see subsequently there has been a deal done on that car at £5,700, and it's been sold. Now, if you're one of the people that enjoys seeing the pain that the Bangers and Cash Restoring Classics team go through, you're going to like this one. Lot 510 Matra Murena 2.5S, and this was one of the cars apparently they'd taken on. They'd done a mechanical overhaul on it, a bit of a cosmetic tidy up. You know, this car was always known for its three-seater front or three-seat arrangement in the front. This one was a submit best bid. It was bidding wise, it got up to £11,250. Okay, you think? This was very provisional because, according to what I heard during the bidding, they had paid somewhere around about £12,000 to £13,000 for this car. Then obviously spent a fortune on it probably, and now we're trying to sell it. So the Restoring Classics team are going to take some pain, because I looked on the Mathewson's website and that 11,250 bid has been accepted. Now, if the plan that's in my head has come to fruition, on the thumbnail you would have seen this car. And you thought, well, what's so exciting about a Peugeot 405? Well, lot 518 was a 1994 Peugeot 405 Le Mans. And yeah, I'd never heard of that either. And this was a special edition celebrating their win at, funny enough, the Le Mans 24 Hours. This car was showing 99,000 miles. To be fair, it looked tidy all round. There was the driver's seat needed repair, the fuel flap was missing, so it needed a little bit of jobs doing to it. It was estimated at £6,500 to £8,000, and I sort of went, okay, maybe I missed something. It's a niche model, but no, absolutely no bids. I think Dave went down to about £5,000 and nobody touched it. He did admit they may have been slightly ambitious with the estimate, and he said, well, this is why you always need to be as realistic as you can, but I imagine that might have been driven by the vendor. So yeah, rare car, but nobody cared. Now, I've got history with the model of car in lot 528, 91 Citroen AX GT 1.4. I stripped one of these for spares for a rally car back in the early 2000s. Sorry. This was actually very standard looking. A lot of these, as we know, have been modified over the years. Last MOT expired March this year. Done 134,000 miles. It had things like a Can-in air filter put on, which, yeah, okay, we all did that back in the day, but now people want them back to standard. You know, a few rust spots on it, but overall it was fairly tidy. Estimate £5,000 to £7,000, which I didn't think was too out of the way. I thought it was more bottom end, but unfortunately it only made 4,300. They took it as a provisional bid, but it is now showing that bid was accepted. Now, if you're really looking for an original Lotus Elan, lot 543 is probably the one for you. This one had been in storage for a long time, since the mid-80s, and was purchased, I think, by the current owner in 2019. It had only done 53,000 miles. It was then recommissioned by a Lotus specialist at a cost of £20,000. And the good thing I thought on this car, it had been MOT'd. It's well past being exempt from MOTs, but I always think that's good to have that third-party inspection to show a potential buyer. It's had low ownership as well. Estimate wise, 19 to 22,000, and yeah, these things seem to fall in that kind of range. £20,000 is the bid it got, and it sold for that. Now, if the original Audi Quattro that we featured on our day one video was a bit too much for you, how about another Audi Quattro, but at about, I don't know, 15-20% of the price? Lot 556 was a 1990 Audi Coupe 20-valve Quattro. Current owner had this since 2011, and it had MOT up until November 2025. So tax, insure it, and you're ready to go. It's had upgraded injection and ignition system put on it, and included with the sale was about what the seller had valued about £1,000 worth of spares. They were saying the car needs more TLC than what the current owner feels it can give, which is why it was up for sale. Estimate wise, I thought it was a reasonably sort of guide at £4,000 to £5,000, sorry, and it did actually sell. It went for £4,100. Now, our last car of day two is this Peugeot 205 1.9 GTI from 1992, and this was lot 576. Now, this one has been subtly modified in a way that I think is a really nice way to do it. It had an MI16 engine, it had Peugeot 309 running gear, it got a Magnix exhaust on it, and it was MOT'd through to May 2026. So again, another one that's ready to go. It did have some service history with it. It's had some rust repairs done in the past. And according to the description on the Mathewson's website, it was previously owned by Natasha of the 205 GTI Drives website, which is lost on me, but if you're into your GTIs, it probably means something. Estimate-wise, I thought this was quite cautious. £5,000 to £6,000 for a 1.9 GTI. I thought, that's small money, surely. And yeah, it was. This one smashed through that and sold for £8,300. I really hope you've enjoyed that quick whiz through sort of 20 or so cars of Mathewson's on day 2. Obviously some sold, some didn't, some overperformed and some were disappointing. If you have enjoyed it, please consider giving that subscribe button a tickle, and then you'll get reminded of when we put out our day 3 auction review.